Hello friends and welcome to another captivating video of Wisdom Zone, and this is Shubro, and I'm quite sure you have already guessed it. Today I have an exhilarating session, and today we are going to discuss about presentation skills. And as you have already understood, today I'm going to show you that how you can become a champion in public speaking and you can develop your presentation skills, right? And this is the first part, so it's my earnest request, please watch this video till the end so that you can give a new dimension to your presentation and can develop your overall presentation skills and become a proficient public speaker. So if you haven't subscribed to Wisdom Zone, it is my request, please do subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon and continue watching this video till the end so that you can develop your overall presentation and become a proficient communicator. So friends, as you see today, I have an excellent topic of discussion because today I am going to help you out to become more proficient in presentation skills, and after watching this video you will become a champion in public speaking and you'll be able to develop your presentation skills and you'll be able to give an effective presentation anywhere, right? So before I move forward, let me quickly clarify what we are going to do today. Today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how we can develop your presentation skills. I'll share some tips related to presentation skills, right? So you must be wondering from where I'm going to start. First of all, let me show you what I'm going to do first. As I mentioned, this is the first part of this series, that is become a champion in public speaking and develop your presentation skills. So this at first, let me show you what are the two important things you have to highlight. So in this particular series I'm going to highlight two important things. The first is verbal communication skills. Okay, as you see on your screen, verbal communication skills, that's related to speaking, listening and delivering the right kind of speech in front of the public. And the second is non-verbal communication skills, as you see on your screen, which is related to kinesics, the study of the way in which certain body movements and gestures serve as a form of non-verbal communication, that is called kinesics. Okay, I'm also going to help you out to develop your non-verbal communication, which is the second important part of public speaking, which may include so many things such as eye contact, facial expression, gestures, postures, and body language. Okay, it is called kinesics or non-verbal communication, right? So a presentation is primarily dependent on these two things. First is verbal communication skills and the second is non-verbal communication skills, right? So as you see on your screen, both are mentioned, and today I'm going to focus on verbal communication skills, right? And because this is the first part, I'm going to give you some important tips which is definitely going to help you to develop your public speaking and you'll become a champion in public speaking. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you see friends, on your screen, as I already mentioned, today I am going to focus on the first aspect of presentation skills, that is verbal communication skills. As you see on your screen, it is mentioned verbal communication skills. So I'm going to share some important tips, 10 important tips precisely. I'm quite sure these tips are going to help you immensely, and once you understand and pick up these tips and if you use them, you will become a champion in public speaking, right? So without further ado, let's move on and see the first important tip for the day. So as you see on your screen, the first tip is focus on the opening of the presentation. Okay, so you need to focus on the opening, the how you open the presentation. It is quite imperative. Okay, as you see on your screen, you need to be confident so that people somehow feel that the person is here to give a presentation. So you have to come up with a good opening. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by a good opening. So at first I'm going to show you an example of a clumsy opening, as you see. So normally what we do is that we try to make a clumsy opening. As you see, this is the way. If we open, it can sound very clumsy and obviously you will not be able to create that impression. So if you start like, hello, my name is so and so, Today I am going to talk about this topic. So this sounds very monotonous and clumsy, isn't that? So most of the people go wrong here. 90% of the people, they somehow miss the opening, right? They somehow cannot open the presentation in the way they should, and because of that, they cannot create that impression. And as you know, first impression is your last impression, isn't that? So you have to create that perfect impression. So the opening is quite imperative. So let me tell you how you can open. As you see on your screen, you can start like this way: good morning or evening, friends. My name is Troy Walter. Today I'm going to discuss a topic which is of great importance to everybody present here, because today I am going to tell you how you too can deliver a perfect presentation. So this is the way you can begin. I hope you understood the difference. The first one was too clumsy and too short, okay, and it could not create that impression. But the second one was much more informative, and it also gives that kind of impression that you are in a very positive state of mind. And always use adjectives, powerful adjectives, so that you can draw the attention of the audience, right? As you see here, I have also mentioned, I'm going to discuss a topic which is of great importance, okay? So instead of great importance, you can say, I'm going to discuss a topic which is imperative, which is quite essential. So, like this way, you can use some powerful adjective to create a good impression in the opening, and opening is very important. Okay, so I hope you understood how you can focus on the opening, and by that way, you can create a good impression. And you need to be confident when you are opening your presentation. Okay, that's the way you hook up with the audience. You at first connect with the audience, right? So up next, let's see the second important tip which I'm going to give you. As you see on your screen, it is all about credentials. Credentials are very important because you must be wondering why it is and what exactly it is. Credential means what exactly is your qualification, okay, what is your capability, why the people are going to listen to you. That means you have to clarify who you are, what is your credential, what is your qualification, what is your relevant experience, so that they are going to pay attention and listen to your presentation. Okay, because obviously they are going to spend some time, sit over there, and obviously observe your presentation. So they always are going to think about it, that why I'm going to listen to this person, who is this person. So you have to talk about your relevant experiences, your relevant qualification that is related to the presentation. Okay, but that does not mean that you straight away talk about your experience, like, regarding my experience, I have more than 15 years of experience as a communication coach. So no, 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 this is a bad example. Okay, you should not go ahead and be too loud and straight away just talk about your long experience like this way. So you have to make it sound very narrative. You have to present it in a very smart manner. So let me show you how you can do it. So instead of saying that I have a long experience or 15 years of experience in this and that, so you can come up with a better presentation. So you can try a better way to talk about your credential. Okay, that is your qualification experience. You can, so instead of saying that I have more than 15 years of experience as a communication coach and I have helped several people to develop their communication, instead you can go in a smarter way. So let me show you. You can talk about your credential in this way, that I help people to overcome their stage fright and become proficient in public speaking, and I have been doing it for a long time. So like this way you can put it. It's not too loud, but you are putting it in a smart way. You're talking about your credential, that you help people overcome stage fright and become good in public speaking, right? So if you interact like this way, then obviously you'll be able to connect in a better manner with the audience, and they are going to listen to you. Okay, but do not be too loud and say I have 15 years of experience and I have done this much and I achieved this much. So don't be so loud also. Just make it a bit smart. Okay, smartly talk about your credential and how you have helped people. Okay, in a nutshell, you discuss that in your credential. So let's move to the third important point, and third important tip is on your screen. As you see, you have to be clear and precise with your presentation. So clarity is very important because your voice is your identity. Suppose you are giving a presentation in a large conference room or in a large hall, okay, where you see a lot of people, right? Here, your voice quality is important, how clear you are, okay, whether you are properly audible to all the people sitting in the back also, that is also important. So you need to ensure that whatever you say, each and every word should be clear and it should be distinctively audible. So clarity is important, okay. And apart from that, you need to also focus on other important things, that while describing, while giving the presentation, do not stammer, do not fumble, okay. Speak clearly. As I already mentioned, clarity is important. Pronounce the words clearly so that each and every word is distinctly audible. And also do not use complicated jargons, right? Complicated terms which people may not understand. So use words which they are going to understand. Don't use some words, some jargons which people may not understand, which may somehow affect the presentation or the flow of the presentation, okay. So I hope it's clear, the third important point which you should keep in mind. So let's see the fourth important tip. The fourth tip is on your screen: focus on the nature of audience. So this is a very important thing to understand. You must be wondering how you can focus on the nature of audience. So to focus on the nature of audience means that you have to understand that kind of audience present over there who are going to listen to your presentation, right? The nature of the audience in the sense their age, city, their qualification. So these things are important. How old they are means it's not possible to understand each and every individual's age, but you can somehow guess. Understood? And before you give a presentation, you have that idea that I'm going to give a presentation in front of young audience. Okay, so age is very important. So I'll tell you why. So age, the ethnicity of the audience, the and the qualification level is also quite important. So you try to understand all these things, and based on that you can customize your way of speaking, way of delivering your presentation. I'm going to give you a simple example. Suppose you are giving a presentation in front of a group of people who are quite young. You see a young audience in front of you. So in that case, you can definitely go a bit fast. You have to be more positive. You have to show that intent and energy when you see a young audience in front of you, right? So you need to be positive, energetic. You can go fast also. But if you see that you are giving a presentation in front of an audience where most of the people are above 60 or above 55 and they are elderly, so then you have to change the style of your presentation. You cannot go fast. You need to slow up a bit than normal presentation, the normal way you give a presentation in front of youngsters. So you have to slow it up a bit, okay, and you have to have more patience while giving the presentation. You have to try and engage them in a better manner, right? And similarly, qualification level is also important because if you understand the qualification, whether the people who are going to listen to your presentation, they're highly qualified or not, that is also going to help to customize your presentation. And the delivery style can also differ, okay. If you are giving a presentation in front of people who are quite qualified, obviously you are going to use some which they may understand. And in case of an audience where you see that people are not that qualified, so there you try to avoid complicated term jargons, okay. So this adjustment you can make if you know the nature of audience, which is very important. I hope it's clear. I gave two examples so that you can understand why it is important to understand the nature of audience, right? So up next, I'm going to show you the fifth important point. The fifth important tip for today is to engage the audience. As you see on your screen, that means you have to ensure that they are going to pay attention to your presentation, okay. So how to do it: you can share some anecdote, short stories, okay, and make it sound narrative, and you can ask questions also, so that they can feel engaged. Just do not read out or show the slides and go ahead with the presentation. Try to share some stories, anecdotes, or ask some questions to engage them. Okay, so I'm going to give particular example how we can share an anecdote. You can share a small short story or anecdote. Suppose you can say that last week I was giving a presentation. Suddenly, a lady asked me that I want to develop my communication. I want to become good in public speaking. I said that what is your problem? She said, I have good communication skills, but I want to improve my public speaking as I become anxious whenever I speak in front of a large audience. So that's what she said. And then you can ask the audience, isn't that a common problem? And I'm quite sure you all are facing this problem. Or you can also ask in a different way that right now I want to ask how many of you are facing the same problem, right? So, like this way, you can engage the people and you can communicate in a free flowing manner so that they can stay engaged. You can share some short instances of anecdotes and connect with the audience. Okay, so I hope you understood how to connect with the audience. And up next, the sixth important point, as you see on your screen, is to present relevant and reliable stats and data in an informative way. Okay, you need to present some relevant and reliable stats and data in front of the audience in a very informative way, and that should be reliable. That should not be something which is totally absurd. Okay, so you have to do a bit of research before that. Ensure that whatever data or stats you're providing, they are reliable and they are genuine. Okay, so say for example, you can give this kind of data. Suppose you're giving a presentation on how to become good in public speaking, so we can give a data like this way. So as per research, effective presentations depend 38% on your voice, 55% on nonverbal communication, and only 7% that is on your content. So, like this way, you can give some informative data which they trust should be reliable. Okay, the way I mentioned, okay, related to the topic, and the data should be relevant and should be related to the topic, and it should be genuine. Do not try to make up something and suddenly share, which people may not believe. Okay, so try to present some relevant and reliable stats and data in an informative manner so that we can engage them. Okay, and give some data, give some numbers, so that they are going to somehow listen to you and pay attention. Okay, so let's turn our attention towards the seventh important point, as you see on your screen. That is, you have to try to build a rapport. Okay, you need to try and build a rapport, a good connect with the audience, right? You need to build that good understanding so that they are going to follow your presentation closely. They are not going to get diverted. So it's very important to build a good rapport with them. So how you can do that? You can share some jokes, okay, some skits, some funny incidents. By that way, you can try and build a rapport with the audience. If you can, then obviously it's going to help you, and it becomes a lot easier for you to give the presentation and create a good impression. Okay, because if you have the audience in your side, you will find that it becomes a lot easier for you to go ahead and engage them. Okay, so try to build a good rapport, a good relationship with your audience. Okay, crack some jokes, but do not somehow crack some jokes which are totally unprofessional, right? And but yes, you can share some funny incidents, a small incidents or jokes you can scare, but striking a right balance, as I already mentioned. Don't share something which is totally absurd, which is not relevant, and it is somehow too informal. Okay, so do not do that. But yes, you can share some nice jokes, okay, simple jokes, so that you can keep them engaged, understood, and you can keep the rapport going. Okay, so up next, the eighth important point, which you see on your screen, that important tip is that check whether your audience is still engaged or not. So especially when you are going ahead with a long presentation, okay, if your presentation is for more than 30 minutes or 40 minutes, then you have to ensure that your audience and the people are still connected, they are still engaged. Because most of the time what happens in case of a long presentation, a presenter is giving a presentation for more than 40 minutes, 1 hour, so the audience will lose interest after some time, no matter how good you are. So you have to ensure that when you're giving a long presentation, especially, you need to ensure that they are quite engaged, they are still engaged with the presentation. Okay, after 40 minutes, after 30 minutes also, the best thing to do is that you can just see their facial expression. But it is always not possible to see a large audience. Okay, and case a small audience, if you are giving a briefing session, or in a kind of a small briefing room, when you're giving a presentation, only 15, 16 people are there, then you can see the facial expression and eye movement and all those things. You can understand whether they're engaged or not. But when you're giving a presentation in front of a large audience, so there it's not possible to individually see the facial expression, right, and understand whether they're still engaged. So best thing is to do is that you need to ask questions. Okay, suddenly you ask questions, somehow select some individual from the crowd and point that person and ask a question related to the presentation, or the presentation you have given up to that much. Based on that, you can ask some question. Okay, and that will keep them engaged, and others are also going to pay attention that time. So ask one or two questions to the audience. Okay, select one or two individual and ask questions, so that they are not feeling sleepy, they are not yawning, right, which is very important. And that's the way to engage them, especially when you're giving a long presentation. Okay, so up next, we are going to see the ninth important tip. As you see on your screen, the ninth important tip is quite essential. That means you have to be optimistic. You need to be optimistic. Always go with an optimistic approach. Always be optimistic and try to be as lively and as dynamic as possible during the presentation. And because your positive vibes would definitely create a good impression, and they are also going to get engaged, right? So do not look very clumsy, do not look negative, right? So if you look negative, if you are slouching, if you are clumsy, then obviously the people are also going to lose interest. So you need to have that positive intent. Go with a positive intent, be optimistic, carry yourself in a positive way, speak clearly and in a positive manner, and that should reflect in your performance, in your presentation. Okay, you should be loud and clear, and you should be dynamic. So that is quite essential. Okay, so at last, let me tell you the last important point which we all know, and the last important tip is the closing. You need to focus on the closing also, because most of the time I have seen that most of the people, they go wrong here. They suddenly end the presentation. So I can give an example. Suddenly they end like this: I hope you understand all the points, thank you. Like this way they suddenly end the presentation, which obviously is going to affect. Because oh, I understand that you're ending the presentation, but preparation is important, because if you end suddenly, that would leave a bad impression. Okay, so that impression is important. So you need to leave a good impression. So you need to make it a bit more professional and engaging, right? So how to close, right? So that's what you are thinking. Let me show you. You can close like this way: at last, I would like to thank all of you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to discuss such an important topic. And thanks for listening to me patiently. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer you. So, this is the way. I hope you understood the difference between this one and the previous closing, that I hope you understand. Okay, or I hope you understood all the points, and thank you. So if you end like this way, you will not be able to create that good impression. But if you go like this way, the latter one, you should sure, by that way you'll be able to create a very powerful influence, right? You can create a powerful impression which is going to help you also. Okay, because they are going to feel that, okay, we got something from that. You will find that they are also going to come up with questions. That means they were all engaged in the presentation. Understood? So like this way you have to close. So you have to focus on all the aspects I have mentioned. So I hope it's clear how you will deliver a perfect presentation. And if you follow the 10 tips, you can more or less give a confident presentation and you can give an effective presentation, you will be definitely improving over a period of time. But this is the first part, as I already mentioned. And over a period of time, I'm going to come up with more part to help you out to become a champion in public speaking and in presentation skills. So follow these important tips, and also do not forget to subscribe to Zoom. In a few days time, I'm going to come up with the second part. I'm going to discuss some more points, and also after that I'm also going to discuss about the second important thing, that is how we can focus on non-verbal communication, kinesics. Okay, so that also I'm going to focus on. So stay tuned for the other videos also from this series, and if you haven't subscribed to Wisdom Zone, it is my earnest request, please subscribe to Wisdom Zone and hit the bell icon and continue following this series and all the other videos from Wisdom Zone. So stay tuned for other informative videos.